first time I actually hear myself so loud. Okay. Anybody here ever been to one of my presentations at Astracon? Well, two people. Okay, so one thing. I tend to do what I call interactive presentations. That means if you have a question, don't wait till the end. Just raise your hand, say I have a question. If it's relevant to what I'm talking about, I'll answer. If not, I ask you to keep it to the end. That's number one. Number two, I do encourage interaction with you guys, which means you're not an oil painting. And that means that I have a tendency of actually throwing things at people. I know you're not used to the concept, but we're going to try it anyway. Everybody with me? Okay, sorry? Yeah, I know, no worries. And by the way, I'm a lousy shot, so if anybody gets it in their head or anything like that, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll apologize immediately. So, as said, my name is Nir. I'm from Israel, and I'm going to talk about something that we call Augmented RTC. And basically, it's a new approach of how to do telecom development, specifically in our ever-increasing era of cloud computing and platform as services and communication services as so on. So what is Augmented RTC? We like defining it as augmenting parts of our current cloud infrastructure back into the customer premise. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, why would anybody want to do that? Can anybody give me any reason why somebody would ever want to take parts of the cloud platform and put it back into their premise? It's not a rhetorical question, by the way. I do expect an answer from somebody, at least one. Yeah. Security is one. That's one option. Here we go. Oops. Almost hit somebody else. That's one option. There are other options. Yeah? Regulations, exactly. Can you give me an example of somewhere in the world where the regulation will stipulate that you have to do that? Yes?
Medical records for gaming.
Medical records, that's perfect. That's one of them. And there is more.
Location data. Wow.
Again?
Location data, privacy data.
That's one. Oops, you don't like that? You want something else? In any case, so we have a multitude of industries that require that regulatory compliancy that sometimes says, sorry, you cannot use the cloud, such as insurance, banking, investments. Anybody familiar with the UK regulations in regards to compliancy on phone lines for banking, which means you have to record all your phones, all your SMSs, all your data links, everything has to be recorded and has to be recorded according to the sovereigns inside the UK. Which means a call that was made in London cannot be stored in, let's say, Manchester, and vice versa. And this is why HP bought Autonomy for a kick-ass of cash. But sometimes cloud services, as we said, don't really cut it. And sometimes they don't cut it not because they're not good. They're awesome. We love Twilio and we love Nexmo and we love all these services. But the truth is that at some point in time, these services are either too big or too small for us. And they actually prevent us from moving forward. And just before I continue, just a bit about myself. Most people know me as the crazy asterisk guy. That means that I love creating stuff with asterisk and Chameleon and you name it. And we're located in Israel, and we create crazy stuff. We create crazy systems that people tend to come to us and say, hey, can this do this? And we're going to look at it and say, interesting. Why not? Let's do it. So this is how we work. So somewhere around March this year, I think it's this year or last year. Yeah, this year, March 2016, a quake, a massive cloud quake happened, and basically Dropbox announced that they are leaving Amazon. Now think about that one. Dropbox is what? The world's most popular consumer-oriented storage cloud, right? And they're announcing that they're leaving Amazon. Why would they leave Amazon? Any reasons? Can anybody think of 2, 3 different reasons why Dropbox decided after so many years to leave Amazon? Costs, that's one. What else? Security, that's another. Who said security? Here you go, back to the end. Whoops. I told you I'm a lousy shot. What else? Control. Control is a very interesting concept, yes, but let's try defining it a little differently. The thing is that, putting aside technology, the main issue that Dropbox had was it didn't make any financial or technology sense anymore. Because when you talk about security and cost efficiency and it's too expensive, yes, that's mainly, you go out and you say, okay, so it's mainly financial. But Dropbox is a technology company, right? They provide technology. So what is one of the most important things for a technology company to be able to do? Provide their technology and provide what they do. And when we look at cloud providers, here are some fun facts. Yes, we love them. They always get us there with their free offering. Hey, I had some analogy on that one of somebody offering you something for free and then you get hooked, but I didn't want to use it. You all know what it is. We pay more as we grow. Makes perfect sense. They have many APIs and much goodness, which is awesome. This is all what we developers like. Or in other words, cloud telephony providers are like imagining that your favorite restaurant is your kitchen. It's more or less the same thing. You eat there, you drink there. At some point, you get to know the owners. But regardless of how good you're going to get with them and how acquainted you are, you don't affect their menu or how they cook. Which means that essentially, all these cloud providers eventually become incumbent. You rely on their infrastructure, you rely on what they do, but your ability to be disruptive, your ability to be creative is only limited by the APIs that they give you. And if you want to do something else, pack your stuff, build your own. Okay, so let's do just a little bit of math in regards to cloud providing, okay? This is how you normally start up. So we have less than 1,000 users. Basically, this is based more or less on the information provided by most cloud providers that we currently know. Okay, it's more of an aggregate of all of them. Up to about 1,000 users, you have about 10,000 minutes a month, depending on your service. You have a monthly bill of $100. Great, why not? Sounds perfectly sense. And it goes on like this. This is more or less till you get the 2-year mark. Okay, you're becoming more established. At some point, you become a large enterprise and you get, what are we going to do with 100 million endpoints? If I'm going to go right now to Twilio or to Nexmo or any of them and I say, I've got 100 million endpoints to support. The only thing that they'll be looking at is this. Like, should replace this with dollar signs because it's being excruciatingly expensive. Why? Because that's their business model. That's how they work. Now, imagine that you don't charge for the service that you need these cloud providers for. That means you don't make any money off of that. So this is a pure expense. And the truth is, cloud telephony is becoming incumbent. Yes, they do a lot of innovation. Scalability, reliability, APIs, WebRTC, all of it. But at the end of the day, they had become the same as the old ILEX. They are now the carriers. Yes, they terminate stuff and they get origination from other ports, but for the sake of argument, they are incumbent. They become too rigid in adapting themselves to their customers' needs. They think, I've got an API. The customer will do what he wants. But your API doesn't give everything. It will never do. You've decided the functionality. That's what it will do. they're fixated inside a specific business model. And that means that that business model will never, ever, ever change. Changing the billing structures of all of that is virtually impossible for a cloud provider. It's like taking that humongous aircraft carrier and telling it, okay, move 20 degrees to the right. The guys at the helm saying, are you kidding me? That will take me a year. Let's talk about half a degree, okay? That's more or less how they work. And depending on your business model, they're just too darn expensive. And all of that actually led into something happening in our company when we started rendering our own cloud service. Now, our cloud service is very different from others, specifically by what it does and how it works. But we actually realized that what the other carriers or the other clouds are doing is just not right for our customers. So about 9 months ago, we got approached by this company in the US, a very large company, saying, hey, we want to add voice calls into our application. We want to do it. And we have some limitations. It has to be secured. It has to be encrypted. We have to be able to control the media, yada, yada, yada. They had a whole list of stuff. And we've got a problem. Nobody can do it. So we asked, what? You didn't approach the regular cloud providers? Yes, we approached, but they gave us a price tag that didn't make any sense. We saw the price tag and we said, okay, that doesn't make any sense, specifically for something that you give out for free. Okay, no company is going to pay about $15 million a month for a service that is rendered for free. Doesn't go that way. You're probably wondering how big this company is and how many endpoints, right? Can anybody give me rough numbers? What do they think the size of this specific company was in terms of what they're trying to do? Any of you using one of the cloud providers? Wow. No, everybody's either in shock or like, okay. So we're going to wait with that number for a few seconds, okay? Because that number is bigger than anything you've ever seen up till now. Honestly, when we saw the number, we were like shocked. Okay, so this is what our customer wanted. First, they want everything to be secured. Makes sense. They wanted everything to be encrypted. They wanted no intervention. That means they asked us the following: in no way, how, no matter how, you will not be able to record in any way the media traffic that we're traversing. That's an interesting challenge for a cloud provider. Quality assurance. They wanted us to adhere to a specific quality measurement and be able to say, this is how it works, and be able to work with them hand in hand to make sure that that quality is met. And of course, continuity and fully enclosure. And then the fully enclosed means that it's not they wanted us to provide everything, both a mobile SDK for their applications, iOS and Android, and the backend service, which is not that simple to do. So let's do a little reality check. Most cloud providers fail on these four. Some of them who do have these will actually ask a premium. I guess some of you, anybody here from either Twilio, Nexmo, Plivo, Trapo? None of the cloud providers are in the room. Oh my God, everybody's scared. Anybody know if, let's say, any of those rendered TLS as a free service, or SRTP as a free service, or DTLS SRTP, to be more specific? Actually, I know there is one specific cloud provider in the room because I know the guy personally, so I'm going to approach directly. Do you guys do TLS and DTLS SRTP over SIP? No. Why not? What? Nobody asked for it. So far, can you do it if you wanted to? Yeah. Okay. Can you do it for this number? That's a big number. That is the biggest number I've ever seen for any type of niche service. This is not Skype. These guys came to us and they have 350 million endpoints. Now you can imagine what the other cloud providers saw the minute they saw this number. But these guys have a bit of a problem, because with all the big number of users they've got, the main issue is that they don't have that many minutes, because most cloud providers are based on minutes. How many minutes you traverse through our systems. That's what they want, because they do media. They calculate media. How do we make our money? Simple. We traverse your media. We calculate the media unit. We multiply it billions and billions of times, and this is what we charge. That's how they calculate the per minute cost. One part of it is termination, if you terminate to the PSTN, and part of it is pure traversal, because data costs at the end of the day. You're going to pay AWS to traverse your data, right? Now, what we've done is we said, okay, we're going to look at this problem from a different angle. Okay, so basically, what is our customer actually asking us to do? He said, first of all, he's asking us to manage those 350 million users in a secure manner. That's number one. Number two, he is asking us to help him actually, go about and deploy a media network that is worldwide and provide the services that he needs. Number three, it has to be secured, and it has to be tolerant to any change that may be applied at either the client end or the network end. So this is basically what we're looking at. We're saying we're going to build a solution that is signaling in our cloud. Media services are going to use customer premise data centers. Okay. Monitoring of all elements. By the way, what anybody here is using for monitoring? What tools are you guys using? Zabbix. What? New Relic. And that's it. What? Anybody else? What do you use for SIP monitoring, for monitoring your traffic, making sure your services are up? Not only your servers. New Relic is awesome for monitoring, processes and stuff like that, but it doesn't do squat for anything like SIP or WebRTC or SDP or MOS scoring or anything like that. And Zabbix, I don't think does that either. So what about anybody else? Again? Selenium. Not familiar with that tool, sorry. You taught me something new, so you get one. Nagios, Isinga, well-known tools. Anybody familiar with pCapture, Homer, SIP Capture project? Yeah, look it up. Awesome tools, really. We really like it. So what we've done is something like this. So basically we have what we refer to, sorry, I'm going to move here, basically as our cloud area over here, which is basically a secured signaling zone, which is completely separated from the customer's network. We then have a secure transit between our interconnects and the customer premise. By the way, this customer is capable of doing full TLS on his own, which is kind of interesting. Most customers can't do that. They have very advanced infrastructure. We've done already a full-blown deployment. It's been active in production for the past 3 months, more or less in the US. Already deployed to about 750,000 devices in less than 3 months. The interesting parts that we've installed on the customer premises are actually this one over here, which is basically both a media relay and a transcoder. Basically, we use Opus and FEC in there to make sure that quality is really, really good. One of the things that we've added on this side, basically in the mobile app, inside the SDK, are tools to enable, for example, like network convergence. So, for example, we're able to converge and move from Wi-Fi to GSM and back regardless, without cutting the call down, which is one of the key elements, one of the key factors that they requested. I know that there are a lot of SDKs that are doing it in so many ways. There's so many tricks to do that.
GSM, you mean?
I mean wireless. I mean the mobile carrier data network. Yeah. Pardon me. I'm still in the GSM age. You know, for me, everything 3G LTE it's GSM, just a different variant of GSM. James will right now kill me, right? Okay, so that's more or less it. If you'd like to contact me, there's my email or Facebook or Twitter, whatever is more convenient to you. Questions? This is the time to bash. Nobody wants to bash. Yeah.
So in that application, you said that they were using very few minutes, but there must have been a lot of other activity that was going on.
Well, the application itself is not a voice over IP application or anything like that. It's
IM instead or SMS?
It's something completely different. It's not even that. It's a very specific vertical inside the mobile app. They give a specific service, and they needed a way to communicate with their customers because their customers, they reached a point where they put in bots, and that gave some traction, and they put in questionnaires and FAQs and all kinds of wizards. That gave other traction, but eventually their customers said, we want to talk to somebody on the phone to do something. And so that's when they started. Initially, they started doing regular cellular line phone calls, but then they actually realized that what they're only doing is handing their data to somebody else. Because the minute you traverse somebody else's network to do something, and you're out in the open, so that part was really important for them. Other aspects of this specific methodology of working is we are already investigating and we're already working with an automotive, one of the what's called connected cars industry. Basically, all cars right now come with one type of entertainment system that is capable. We've already done tests with that, so we're capable of putting the SDKs that we have on entertainment systems and cars. We've done already integration with smart TVs and various others embedded devices. So the entire world of IoT as we see it right now, and 2 years from now, so right now our IoT is mainly, okay, let's make sure something talks to something else. But in a year from now, in 2 years from now, we're going to be talking to that device in some form, and we'll need a way to traverse that information. And at some point, that device, we're not going to talk to the device. We may end up talking to some bot somewhere, and that bot at some point may actually say, okay, let's traverse the call to somewhere else, to a person. And that process requires far more technology and far more capabilities than what's currently available. Yes, the cloud providers are working there, but again, if you give your data to somebody else, then somebody else will go about and dig it and harvest it and do whatever he wants with it. Sorry. So the end result is that if you really care about your users and if you really care about their security, eventually you'll have to do it yourself. You'll have to build your own. But the question is, you don't have to go the whole way. You don't need to always go the whole 9 yards on this one. Any more questions? Am I on time? Amazing. Okay, thanks.
Please join me in thanking Nir.